Alright, good day everyone. This is part 4 of the Dart series, the Dart programming language video tutorial. We're actually learning. In today's video, we'll be learning variables, and definitely there's no way we are going to be learning variables that we are not going to learn data type along with it. Yes. What is variable? Variables is actually like temporary storage, like a yeah, like a container that you can actually store something into it temporarily. Um, let's imagine. I don't know. I definitely I know senior engineers might also be watching this video at the time of when it gets to the platform or anywhere it actually is. Let's imagine that we have a big bowl like Storex, for example. Storex, we can call Storex to be a uh, permanent database, permanent storage, I mean. And permanent storage used to be something like database, or let's say hard drive, whereby we store things on permanently. Yes, hard drive is the component, the device component in our system that we store data, any kind of data, file of any kind of format. And temporarily, when we're not talking about temporary storage, it's like RAM. Yes, and if we were to bring it to um on a layman explanation, it's just like when you are now pulling water from the storage down to your normal buckets in your kitchen or bedroom. Yeah, let's put it that way. Temporarily, those water are now there for a purpose to use. Probably you want to wash your plates, or you want to bathe or anything. That is how variable is actually is. And we'll be getting deeper into how it is. In this life, for every object, for everything that is in this life actually has type. Yes. As a person that we exist in this life, the type of us is called human being. Our data type is human being. For water, the data type is liquid. For everything that is in this life, everything has what type do they belong to, and that is what we know as data type. Let's now bring it into programming. The variable we're talking about now, we've been able to identify it to be like buckets that actually store water temporarily for the purpose of usage. That is it. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I'll be opening my VS Code because I won't want this video to be too long. All right, this is my machine. In the beginning of this series, I was actually using my second machine, my laptop, to set up everything for you. But now this is the one that has everything already, and we can continue from this. But you notice that when we're doing the setup, we're actually using one stone to kill two birds. Yeah, what do I mean by that? We're actually installing Flutter, setting up Flutter. But currently we are learning that, and I believe we remember that Flutter is a framework built on top Dart. That is the language. Flutter is the framework used for the mobile app development. Good. Then when we're doing the setup installation, the SDK, everything, when we're configuring it in our previous video, then we're doing everything on Flutter. But along the way, because Flutter cannot run without that, everything we've been installing, it was actually installing that along for us. If you check the previous video, you see it, part of the installation that is being installed. Probably we might not be aware, but you can rewatch the video and see that that was actually installed along. And I'll just open my terminal and I'll just check true if that's, sorry, that version, that version, and you see that that is on the system. You can see that is on the system. All right, that is it. And so far that's how it is. It's pretty good. What we need to do now is I will go to my folder directory. I will go to my local disk C, because I actually like when I like to be organized. Let me put it that way. If you come from the background of backend, you know that things are organized, things are structured. But if you come from the experience of front end, they were not actually well structured there. Though I'm not trying to badmouth front end, but I've seen so many front end engineers which are not actually really that structured. They don't know how to organize their code, their files, their structures. But because backend used to have structures, pattern, architectures, because of that we're privileged to be able to understand that code has to be structured. You can just navigate through how I navigate it. I don't know if I can move this guy. Okay, you can navigate through how I navigate it from your local disk down to your user and pick your user, and you can create a folder whereby you keep all your project in. You will notice that I have Flutter project, I have head, this is for PHP, I have for HTML, I have ID, this is for Python, I have Node project because I actually write so many programming language actually. I have for PyCharm also. I have different folder for different programming language purposely, and I think I have for that already. Yeah, if you didn't have this, I created it. It's not that it's there automatically. You can also create yours. All right, I'll just open this guy and I can right click on the empty space anywhere on the screen, right click, and you can open in terminal, and this is going to open. And what do we want to do? What we actually want to do is that we want to create a project, though there's a web version that you can use to be learning and writing your code. But fortunately, we are going to become an engineer, or let me say we are an engineer. We build code, we write code that is going to be compiled. We want to build something using web version. Is just for you want to quickly test, or as we are learning. Yeah, it's good because we are learning currently, but we won't be able to save our code. Even though we're able to save it, to be saved on the platform, and you won't even be able to reference it. Why don't you have everything on your local system? And even though when we get to the learning curve of Git, we'll be able to see how we can push our code to GitHub or any other um, repository that we have. We have GitLab, we have so many, but that's not where we're going actually. Don't let us be distracted. All right, yeah, let's just type. There's a command we type, we call it that is actually on the system already. Just say that is going to create our project for us. You say that create and you name it your project name actually. We can name it anything, but we can just say that tutorial. That would be better. That tutorial, and we click enter, and this should actually create the that tutorial for us. Okay, yeah, this has been created. You can see created all this file, resolve this, yeah, just it. And it says we can just cd, yeah, we can just cd into the project folder, that's tutorial. All right, we can use CLS to clear because it's look like it's getting, the command is getting to my buffer. Before we go, you can see that it says that run to actually run our code. Yeah, just clear the terminal so that you can have more space to type, and we can say that run. Then when we run, this should actually bring something for, you can say build package executed, build that tutorial, and it says hello42. All right, we're going to go and check what all this means. And if you remember in our last tutorial, some of our tutorial, we learned how we install VS Code. That's why I just opened the VS Code for you. I can close it actually. We learned how to install VS Code along the way, like that, okay? And that's what I told you, that's what we're using to write our code. We are not going to be using the web version. I really don't like it in my own case. Everything is still the same. So far you are learning, you can use it for lab, but definitely because we are going to be using the VS Code to build a real world application, then why don't we start with that? Let's have that feeling that we are already building a real world application. All right, okay, and because of that, while installing, we pick some option that allows us to be able to do something like this. Code dot. Code means VS Code, like code. We are calling VS Code and we're asking it to run, to open this Dart tutorial folder. Because when you go back to your directory, you see that the command that we typed the other time, that creates that tutorial. It actually creates a directory for us, a folder that has so many things inside it. We are going to be checking it one after the other with our VS Code. And let me go back to the terminal and we are on that particular, we are inside the directory. And how do you know that you are even inside? You can do dir, that's directory. It's going to see the same thing we're going to see here is what is actually showing to us on the terminal. And what we just need is to call code and do full stop. That means open this particular folder. That's what it means. Code space full stop or dot. All right, and this is going to open the Visual Studio Code for you, VS Code. And VS Code is now so robust these days, whereby so many things have been added by the Microsoft engineer, because VS Code is for Microsoft. And yeah, it's one of their system, one of their application. All right, okay, they've added AI, they've added so many things. All these things were not there before, some few years back. And yeah, today they are just there. Yeah, they teaming a lot of things were added. Technology are just moving fast, far beyond human revolution actually. All right, let's click this. Normally it's supposed to prompt us to bring a dialogue, a pop-up to accept this, to trust that we trust, but now it's no more bringing that to us. It's just bring a small notification on the top, and definitely it's good to actually says I trust. Yeah, I trust is giving permission to window your operating system, your VS Code, to be able to access everything on this particular folder, that tutorial. All right, we can close this. So far you've picked accepted. If you want to restrict it, you can restrict it back, but I think we actually want this file to be free from any kind of permission. All right, okay, and yeah, here we are. We have this is the folder structure of that. We have that what do you call it, the that too, whereby there's some kind of package configuration and the likes. Yeah, in the future, this is not really good to be touching. It just generates automatically, and it's not even good to be pushing them if not very, very important. All right, bin is a folder whereby all of our code we actually goes inside. The other time that we typed something called, we did that run, it brings something for us. It says, you can see, it says hello 42. Yeah, this is where it's coming from. You can see hello column, and it says 42. 42 is this particular computation. Can you see? When we created our project, that actually give us a default code, and what it means that did something. This is library folder that created a library. Library is just like it's just a folder that hold anything related to module. We call it module in Python, or you can call it module, you can call it package. It's actually a package. You create a file that can be used. Yeah, let me just put it that way. What can be used? File that can be used. And if you come inside the code, the file, this you can see lib library. That's what it means. You see that tutorial, and what is inside is int calculate. And what do they put inside? Return. All these things we're going to explain. We're going to learn it in 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 our upcoming video. You get to understand better what all this actually means. We have return, and return is actually return 6 times 7, which is 42. Then you can see that this is a function called calculate, and if you come back to this guy, you can see that it's actually calling that particular package that you see inside this folder. Is saying that we have that dot and we call it that tutorial, and that tutorial is actually now calling calculate, which is this calculate, and this is what we call string interpolation. But we are going to be talking about all this in details in our upcoming video. Actually, this video is already too long. We are just trying to set the folder, that project folder, and we have tests already, which is where we'll be writing all of our tests. Yeah, we are going to learn tests in the future. Very, very important. When you write code, it's good to write tests. All right, we have the git ignore. Yeah, this is what I told you earlier. You see what I told you earlier. We have the that two already, because if not in the case here, I've seen developers that used to push this folder is not meant to be pushed to the repository. Don't worry, you get to know what is repository. Also, repository is just a folder on the cloud, also whereby you keep your code. And those kind of cloud that we're talking about is like GitHub, Git batch, and GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, and those are the kind of repo, those are the storage we're actually talking about. All right, we have the analysis option here also. This is just to be able to define the packages, files, explanation, trying to explain the analysis here, but don't worry, we're going to talk about that also. Change log. No, don't add anything. Kubernetes. All right, change log is here just to be able to put the version. You can see that is an MD. MD means markdown language. Yeah, it's another language on its own, but this is for documentation and to also instruct AI when you are doing anything related to agentic. Or all those are just other kind of knowledge entirely. All right, we have the pubspec.log. Don't touch this file. We don't touch it. Actually, we don't touch it. Generate. And we have the pubspec YAML file. This is just like a composer or package file in composer. I think that's PHP use composer. Package file use package. The JSON file is that's for JavaScript Node.js, and we have everybody has the file being used to keep the project configuration. Yeah, this is for that. It's been kept in the pub spec YAML file. All right, we have the readme markdown. Yeah, this is another markdown file. You can have as much as possible markdown file that just explain what your code is all about. All right, yeah, I think that's where we'll be stopping on this video. We're going to create our next video to continue from where we stop. All right, thank you. Bye bye.